What's happening, people? We're back. 12th man's back. The Arsenal roundabout's back. We've got an unbelievable panel tonight. We've got an elite panel. And do you know what? I've got to start by saying big up to Christian, man, because last week you smashed it as ever and you stepped in for me. I had a great holiday, great break. I needed it. And I come back at 3 a.m. this morning and I thought, might as well get back to it, innit? Yeah, got the guys on. Big up to you, man, for hosting. Big up to all of you guys for coming on as well. I know it was a bit of a different panel in some parts last week, but big up to D, big up to Kenny, big up to DJ as well. Got Aaron on tonight. Got African Guna back in the house. I've got my guy Stricto on as well, man. Stricto, it's been too long, bro. What are you telling me? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, man. It's been a minute, man. So it's good to be back. Where'd you go? Where'd you travel? I see your Insta.
Yeah, man, I was in Spain, bro. I went and surprised some family out there. So I couldn't really
Okay.
tell people where I was going because some of my family watch what I do and watch my content. So I was like, I don't want to blow the surprise. So I said to Christian, don't tell him where I am. Just tell him that I'm on holiday. I'm unavailable. And big up to you because you did that, man. So yeah, it was a great show. I watched it back and it was class as ever. So big up to everyone that's here. Big up to the panel. Big up to everyone in the chat. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. We're getting close to 50K, people. So let's hit the subscribe button because we want to get there before the season starts. And hopefully, the way things are going, because you guys are mad, we should be able to do it. So make sure you hit like and subscribe together. Make sure you're following every single one of these guys. They do unbelievable content individually. You've got all of their content down there. I'll put all the links in the description, but it's easy for you guys now. You can see it all on screen. So make sure you're following all these guys. Get the mods up there to get all of these guys' channels in the chat, please, so you can just click on them and hit subscribe, all right, because they put out unbelievable content as well. So what we're going to do? Well, we've got a lot to talk about, man. I've been away for a week, and quite a lot has happened, to be fair, in that time. Obviously, pre-season's underway. Signings are underway. Max Dowman is being spoken about, and we're playing some team called Tottenham Hotspur, apparently, tomorrow in a so-called friendly. So we're going to be talking about that as well, man. So big up to everyone that's here. Let's start with Max Dowman, though, because I've got to be honest. Everyone's been talking about him, and everything that I've been saying about him has kind of rattled a few people. I don't really know why. Rivals more than anything. Now, some have appreciated the talent and said, wow, 15 ain't seen anything like it. Some have said, yeah, let's calm down. He looks good now, but, you know, he's only played a couple of games. And some people are losing their minds over it. Like, he's not as good as Rooney was. He ain't as good as Ravel Morrison. We all saw this with Jack Wilshere. Calm down. And it's like, look, if you're putting him in the same brackets as some of those names, he must be doing something decent. So for me, individually, I've been watching him in glimpses at the age of 13, 14, and now 15. And I haven't seen anybody as good as that at 13, 14, or 15. Now, it's easy to say that because I didn't see Pele at 15, right? I didn't see Maradona at 15. I didn't see Messi or Ronaldo at 15, to be fair, because even back then, the accessibility was nowhere near. It was limited in comparison to what it is now. However, I don't really care if he's not Messi or Ronaldo. This kid looks ridiculously good. Now, I'm going to start with you, Christian, because I don't know where your thoughts are on the kind of plans for him this season. But I just want to know your thoughts on what you might see or expect to see from Max Dowman this season. I must admit, I thought we'd see glimpses of him in the Carabao Cup. But I've got to be honest, in the last 2 games, he's been our best player. So if you're good enough, you're old enough on one hand. At the other hand, I don't want to burn him out. I kind of want to see a little bit more of this guy, though, man, because he's looking an absolute gem. Where do you stand on this one, bro?
Yeah, it is a weird one. My first thought is the guy's 15. I think we've all been a bit spoiled by Lamine Yamal. He obviously coming through 16, now 17, doing what he did in the Euros, doing what he did for Barca. Arguably the best player in the world. People saying he should win the Ballon d'Or. I think I agree with that. But that we can't forget that is just once in a generation. We haven't seen someone at 17 that good. I don't think ever. I think he's possibly the greatest 17-year-old we've ever seen. Messi wasn't that good at 17. I don't think. He wasn't the best player in the world at 17, that's for sure. Ronaldo wasn't that good at 17. He wasn't the best player in the world, that's for sure. So I think because players are now coming through younger and younger and younger, we're looking at a 15-year-old and going, oh, he's only 2 years younger than the best player in the world. Why can't he play for us? Why can't he start? But I think we have to remember that with Yamal, that is once in a generation. And look, there's a chance that we have another one that could be once in a generation. But I just keep going back to he's 15 years old. And it's not like we've seen 6 months of it or a year of it, or we haven't even seen it in the Premier League or a Carabao Cup. We've seen it in 2 pre-season games. So don't get me wrong. I've been mad impressed with this guy. I think he came on against Newcastle the other day, was the best player on the pitch. We saw him against top Premier League opposition. We saw what he did to Joe Linton, winning the penalty. More than that as well, we saw him pick up the ball on the right, cut in, beat players, get shots off. We saw him look dangerous. We kind of saw him do what a lot of us want from Odegaard, which was, make space for yourself, shoot from the edge of the box, look dangerous. So, yeah, and I also said this about Dowman as well. For Arteta, it's a bit of a, I don't want to say lose-lose because you've got a great player there. But if you play him and you overplay him and he gets injured, you're going to have every fan going, he was 15. Why'd you overplay him? Now he's injured. You burn him out. If you don't play him, you're going to have fans going, why is he not playing? This guy's a wonder kid. Like, what are you doing? So it's like the only way you can win is if you play him a little bit and he shines and then you slowly make his way into the team. Because if he picks up an injury, everyone's going to turn, All I know is we've got a star, potentially a big star there on our hands. But I think because of the position he plays in, we're seeing him play right wing. We don't need to rush him in. If he was a left winger, I think I'd think differently because our left wing position needs improvement. But we got Saka on the right wing. In the 10, we've got Odegaard there. We've got Nwaneri coming through. So I don't think we need to rush. We've got quality in those positions. He's obviously quality. I want to see more of him. I want to see him playing. But people calling for him to start in the Prem, I just don't see how it happens. If he was a left winger and then we saw more of him in pre-season and he was clearly the best, if he showed levels above Trossard and Martinelli, then look, maybe there's a conversation there. But I don't think he starts ahead of Saka. I don't think he starts ahead of Odegaard on Nwaneri just yet. So I think we can afford to take our time with him. But like I said, this guy looks like a special talent.
Oh, listen, a special talent, in my opinion, absolutely. And I want to bring in this super chat and then ask a question to the panel. I don't mind who comes in on it either. Chaitanya, big up, says, we're in for a hell of a season. Time for players and the coach to change the mentality and come out as winners. Fine margins throughout the season. Big up to Chaitanya for the super chat. And I agree. But the pressure is on. Do we think as a panel that we want to be seeing Max Dowman? Or do we want to just be giving him time and just saying, do you know what, play minutes here and there, let Arteta manage it as best he can and let Dowman show his stuff when he's given the chance? Or are we actually going to be saying, I want to see more of him now. I'm excited to see more. I don't mind who comes in, anyone on the panel. Go for it.
You know what, yeah? He's young, bro. I think you got to manage it. And I know we all want to see it and we're all thirsty for having a youth prospect, an academy player, but we have to manage it. The boy's so young, he can't even get changed with the rest of his teammates. Do you know what I'm saying? Like last year, he was 14. 2 years ago, he was 13.
GCSEs,
just to show
bro.
you.
GCSEs next year, Stricto.
Exactly. He's year 10.
It when you think that. Yeah,
when you look at it like that, he's a young kid. And I think, you have to contain that. He's got a natural ability. We can all see it. And what's amazing about him is he's not even the biggest because he's 15. Do you know what I'm saying? Because you get some super athletes who like LeBron James, for example, at 15 was a freak. This guy is none of that. He's just got the ability and he knows how to use it. For me, it's one of those things where I love seeing him play. And you can compare him to the likes of Messi because he sort of has the ball at his feet all the time. The ball doesn't really go too far when he's running with the ball, but we have to manage it. It has to be something. I can imagine what Wenger would do. Wenger would Carabao Cup him all day long and not even start him, but it would just sort of feature, like through games and that. But I think, I think we should be excited. We have this young kid. We should be excited he plays for the Arsenal. We should be excited what we're going to get from the future. But all the future depends on how we manage him now. You don't want him to get burnt out, pick up an injury because he's still growing. There's still things. I never started growing until I was about 18. Do you know what I'm saying? For so long, I was like 5'5" till I was about 18. Now I'm 6'2". Do you know what I'm saying? So you just got to manage it, and we've also got to remember it's a man's game. No one's gonna treat him out there like he's a 15-year-old. They're still going to treat him like a man because it's a man's game. Do you know what I'm saying? Joe Linton, them man, they're gonna crunch him if they had to. So that's why we got to manage him, man.
Yeah. No, facts, man. Good. Do you know what
Go
as
on,
well? Yeah, you're thinking like I'm more on one of them like feet on the ground sort of type of thing with him because as the boys, and I think everyone's going to say he's 15 years old. You know, I don't expect him to be ripping the Premier League apart because I reckon we should be more managing him. I sort of get as well what Christian was coming at in terms of one of the best 15-year-olds, 17-year-olds in terms of the male. The only problem with that opinion is when Messi and Ronaldo and all that were coming through, they had R9, they had Thierry Henry's. They had all of them players around them. So I think it's more of a generational thing, really, that point. There's barely anyone around, is there? You can probably name about 4 strikers and then you go quiet. So I think back in them sort of days, you know what I mean? All of the players look a lot better now than they did there. I bet you if we teleported them back 20 years, they probably wouldn't look anywhere near as good. So I think it's the feet on the ground thing for Max Dowman. I'd like to see him carry on playing throughout pre-season. Obviously, 100%. He's deserved some minutes against Tottenham because of what he's done in the last 2 games. I'd be gobsmacked if he didn't feature in the Emirates Cup. And do you know what I think as well, which Mikel Arteta, I don't think he often does, is reward young players. You know, I don't think he does it enough. And I think he deserves to be rewarded should he continue over the next couple of games with a little bit of a little place on the bench against Manchester United. You know, just get him used to what it's like being in the Premier League. You don't have to come on, do you know what I mean, or whatever. But here, look, this is what it's like. Here's Old Trafford. This is a little taste of what you want. You want to be coming on there, you know what I mean? You've got a season. Prove yourself. Get some opportunities in the Carabao Cup. If you get them, take them. And you know what? If he gets a little couple of minutes coming off of the bench in the Premier League, if he starts in early rounds in the Carabao Cup and actually is smashing it, play him more. Just make sure you're treating the kid. If he's coming in and smashing it, you know, don't sort of block him off. You know, keep him sort of going there. But yeah, man, he's looking great, and it's always a lot better when you've got a kid like that coming through with a lot of talent. We can all see he's going to be special. It's just up to us to develop him properly. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm buzzing with a kid. It's always better when it's one of your own, isn't it, boys? Come on, always better.
Yeah, no, I agree with a lot of what Aaron said. I mean, how I look at it, this government's trying to get 16-year-olds to vote. So our old's 15. I don't know. So, do you know what I mean? But I mean, there are other ways you can develop players without playing them. And I know it sounds crazy, but just having them in and around the first team training, taking them away on Premier League matches, putting them on the bench, getting them to feel for the game, getting them to kind of just being in and around the first team, especially if they're winning, like a trip to Old Trafford, going to Anfield, and then just blooding them in that way, and then just develop them in, giving them all the experience so they know what it's like to be away from home, so they know what it's like to travel with the first team, train. And then you can give him some minutes, perhaps in the FA Cup, depending on who we draw. You know, if we draw one of the lower teams in the FA Cup, give him some minutes in that. Carabao Cup for sure. And then seeing how the season develops. I mean, if the season develops and it's, you know, depending on where we are, perhaps towards the middle to the end of the season, give him some minutes in certain games. But yeah, he is a special talent. I mean, I don't know whether I'm comparing him as Messi type yet. I mean, give the boy a chance, but I mean, I can enlighten him to the likes of who I've seen over the years come, like Liam Brady and people like this. I mean, the balance the kid's got, he's got 2 feet. What I like about him, Dan, is when he goes past players, he's got an end product. The amount of players that you see, even older players, they beat 2 or 3 players and there's no end product. They're not getting their head up. They're not picking a pass. They're not making the right decision. This kid sort of makes the right decision. So he goes past 2 or 3 players and then he's making the right decision, whether that's a little ball inside, whether that's a little ball out to the wing, whether he's shooting. You know, he's just making the right decision all the time. And that, to me, shows someone that's got it all. And he's got his head up all the time. I mean, there was a couple of times when I looked at him against Newcastle, he's looking around him before the ball even comes to him. And that's a sign of a good player, you know. So, yeah, look, you know, I reckon give him minutes. I don't want him to have too many minutes in the season because I don't think we've got time to develop players, unfortunately. We need to hit the ground running. Every game's a pressured game next season because the expectations on the team to win things. So I think we'd be foolish to sort of throw him in that kind of pressure environment early in the season. But yeah, I mean, depending on how the season pans out, give him some minutes towards the end, play him in the cuts, and just take him along and, you know, get him some experience joining the first team squad, training and going to away matches. So I'm just gassed that we've got him at the club. I think Howland, credit to Howland, doing a absolute fantastic job. So well done, Max, and the team, really.
Yeah,
I'm
what
on
are you
a little
saying?
bit the other side to that, you
Go
know.
on,
I'll be
Dig.
honest. Yeah, I'm on a little bit. I feel like there's only so long you can actually manage greatness. I feel like it's like you say managing, but the fact is he's probably already been managed. He would have probably already been in the team at 14 if he was allowed to be and allowed to play. He probably would have been in there last year. So I feel like he's probably been managed, and I feel like he's probably so good that it's probably hard to kind of curb how good he actually is. I think it's hard to, like, you can say manage him and stuff like that, and maybe we should like factor him. If you're talking about playing him consistently, of course you don't want to be playing him consistently, but it just depends on how good and how great he really can be, because there's only so long you can manage a superstar or a great player. They don't come along all the time. You can't manage Rooney for too long. You can't manage these guys, not Harry Kane, but like a Shearer for too long. You can't manage these guys for too long because they're that good and they're born to do this. They were destined to be great. So I feel like at some point you've got to just allow people to be great. I feel like you could sometimes you can manage for too long and end up holding someone back. There's only so long you can manage these young players that are so good. He's going to be ahead of Ranieri soon. My thought is more about the other young players coming through. He's going to end up being ahead of all of these guys very soon. And if Odegaard's not careful, he'll end up being ahead of him in a year and a half. So it's more about it was funny, but it's more about my thing is more. It's not so much about manage. Yeah, you can manage him, but I feel like we've still got to find a balance to allow him to be great. If you believe that he's got the potential to be great, we've got to get that out of him and let him be that somehow. Like Rooney was able to be great. Rooney scored against us at 16 years old, and it was a brilliant goal. And this is how he became who he was. So we've got to find a way to allow him to flourish as well as managing him. If you see what I'm saying.
And I think even Rooney is a good example. I think Rooney sort of burnt out quite not early, but he could have potentially gone longer. But I think if you look, when did Rooney stop playing?
30 plus, late ages after.
30, I think like 32, 33, I think. Like
Yeah,
the levels dropped.
He was finished by then.
His career though, what you would say is one of the great careers. You get it? If you're looking at, if we managed to get a Rooney type career out of Max Dowman, we've succeeded. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not like
I hear you.
Different positions, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I think it's more Michael Owen type you got to worry about, because Michael Owen burst on the scene and he was an absolute rocket, and he was overplayed very, very early, and injuries eventually caught up with him. So that you have to be careful. There are ways you can get the player involved without playing him too much, and but who do you throw him in? Where does he play right this now? I mean, if you was to pick him for, who would you play?
Do you want to be honest? Not at all this season. We ain't got time for him. This season is about winning trophies. The pressure on the football club to win trophies means that every game's a cup final, even the cup games, the league games. What he's doing now in terms of playing in the less pressured games, which is like pre-season, thank God. Yeah, that's great. We can have a look at him. But in terms of what we did this season, it's all about Operation Trophy. Because I'll tell you one thing, all eyes are on Arsenal Football Club. And it means every contact creator, every fan, the player, the manager. Trust me, every bit of content that an Arsenal creator does, it's going to go through the roof. You're going to get record figures next season, all of you individually, because of the fact that everyone's watching Arsenal Football Club. The pressure from within Arsenal Football Club, from the fans, is going to be transferred to the manager and the players, which means as much as we would love a nice little story, player coming through, not this season. There's no room for him. The best time for him to come to the team, if we were like a Man City where we were a successful club, you can bring these guys in when they're playing with a team that knows how to win, where there's too much pressure. But when you're in a situation where you're under pressure, you've got to win big games. Because when he comes to the team, you know Mikel Arteta is going to want things from him. He's not going to let him sing like a canary. He's going to want to say, yeah, you track back, you do this, you do that. A 15-year-old has now got to think like a seasoned pro. Nah, just relax.
I think
The only thing with that, Kenny, though, the only thing with that is if he comes on and does what he did against Newcastle the other day, that's where the issue comes when he comes on the pitch and is the best player on the pitch. That's when I think that's
I hear you, but I hear you, but I don't think that'll happen. I don't think that'll happen. I think you're right. Maybe the Carabao Cup, but I just say it myself in terms of like the way we're going on. We're comparing him to like I said, generational talents. I think the problem we have now is that today, in yesterday's football, there was room for generation talents, but now with coaches like we have now, Pep, football Philistine, Arteta, not too far behind. Amorim, they're one of the biggest Philistines ever. They don't allow individual talent like this to grow. Right now, there's no pressure. But when he comes to the Premiership, look what bombed Ethan Nwaneri out of sight. His inability to see what was behind him, not to have eyes in the back of his head. That's what bombed out. The Brentford game was where him and Arteta fell out footballistically. Don't know what happened behind the scenes. Footballistically, that's when he thought, yeah, I'm going to take this guy out of the team. We're under a bit of pressure. We got, I don't feel I can rely on this guy. And I think where with Max, yeah, got great talent, blah, blah. But that's it. It's great talent, it's potential. He's got his whole career ahead of him. And you're right. Burnout is one of the biggest crimes in football. We've seen it too many times. Mark Owen, pace went. What was he after his pace went?
Gone.
Yeah. He was a shadow when he went back to Newcastle, wasn't he? When he went to Newcastle, not back to. When he went to Newcastle, he was a shadow. Yeah, real shadow.
What we saying, African Gooner, like for me, because I know you're a fan of the academy, and I know that we've got Ethan Nwaneri we've spoken about. Madueke's come in the door. We've been linked with Eze, which we'll come on to later. Is there actually a place for Ethan and Max in this squad this season in Premier League games, or do you think it's maybe a season too soon, particularly for Max, and it might just have to be a few kind of cup games?
I think there's been a lot of great points that have been shared around the panel. I've been watching Max, I think, for 6 months now, pretty much watching the academy games just to see who this kid was, because, training with the first team at 15 years old, that's never been done before. And, another footer coming in the ranks. And I think as Arsenal fans, especially from the academy, when we're lacking an attacking midfielder or we're lacking any real attacker, when you see one coming in through the ranks like Nwaneri, you get really, really excited. What I really like about Max Dowman is that he scores or assists in every single game he plays. He has some sort of impact in every game he plays. And I kind of resonate with what DJB says. For me, Max Dowman plays the game in slow motion. It's like he's 3 steps ahead of everyone else because his pace is so fast and his thinking is just 2 steps ahead of everyone. And that's what you're seeing on the pitch. You're just seeing him take players out of the game. And as DJB said, he has that final output to either get the shot on target, to put someone in, or to get the penalty, right? I think people need to be a little bit balanced and not set too high of expectations. I mean, comparing him to Messi and stuff, it's great, but I think that's way too early to be doing that right now. I see him probably coming into the Premier League 1 or 2 games, right? He'll be in the match in some of the match day squads, but I think primarily what we should focus on is League Cup games, seeing if he can start some of those in the early rounds. As we said, right, Wenger would probably play him there, play him in the FA Cup. And I also agree with what D said, right? Like, if the kid is doing well, like the fans are going to put pressure to play him, right? But at the same time, if we sign Eze, we have Nwaneri, we have a lot of other options. I don't want to see him being played too much. I want to see him as an impact player that comes in and is given a chance. I believe in a meritocratic system, so he needs to continue working hard. He needs to keep grounded. I really like that Declan Rice is his mentor. You can see they have a great relationship going on, and that is really blossoming, and I'm really happy to see that. I think that's great to see, but I think we should stay calm. I don't see how he comes straight into this team. I think he'll get some of his chances. I think, as we all said, I mean, he's clearly a special talent, and I think his time will come. I agree with Kenny Ken. Lots of pressure this season for us to do well. We don't have time to bet in a 15-year-old into our Premier League squad. And I also agree. I mean, the first touch that Max Dowman took against Newcastle, he gets taken down immediately, right? So you can already tell what type of player he is. He loves to get pressure. He invites pressure and then he beats players. And that means in the Premier League, there are going to be tackles all around, just coming, slide tackling him, knocking him down. And as we said, like, he's not physically strong and there yet. So we don't want to see him get injured. I think we got to be really smart in the way that we develop him. And at the same time, we also want to give time and give him a pathway so that he feels comfortable that Arsenal is his future, because there are going to be a lot of teams coming around this kid, you know, every single window that comes by, right? Every single day, I'm sure, sign this guy, trying to figure out what's the plan, etc. So we need to make sure that we have the right pathway for him to develop. But I'm really, really excited to see this kid. I think he might probably break Nwaneri's record for being the Premier League's youngest player. He turns 16 in December. The only reason that he wasn't included in the Premier League squad this season was because he only turned 15 in December. And by August, he had to have been 15 to be in the squad. That's the only reason I think he wasn't in the squad. So Champions League appearance, that's also probably on the cards. And yeah, I agree. I want to continue seeing him play in preseason. Let's see what he can do against Spurs. You know, I think Odegaard is a little bit of a wake-up call, right? A lot of what we want Odegaard to be doing is what Dowman is doing, right? Taking on players, making them look stupid, and then putting it on target and making the keeper work. So really, really excited. Another great talent that's coming up the ranks. And let's see what the future holds.
Yeah, well, that's true, man. We've got to remain grounded as well, because like I said, guy I know who's close to the club said, "Oh, this Max Dowman kid's better than Odegaard now," and I thought, "Oh, crikey, you know, I've heard this before." And I looked at him and I thought, "I think he might be. I think he is."
Boys, we are forgetting that Arteta hasn't managed to get his claws into him just yet. So all of that,
that's
all of that wonderful football that he's going to play, he's going to coach out of him probably.
Arteta's been coaching him for 6 years, Aaron. If you didn't know,
this is what I was going to say as well. Is I hope.
You forgot about that, didn't you?
No, I hope Arteta manages him right. If there's one thing about Arteta as well that none of us can deny, is that he's inexperienced as a manager. I said this, I had concerns last season when we were in the semis of the Champions League, and I was like, is he going to manage the team right? Is he going to manage players' minutes right? Is he going to pull players out when we need them to rest? You know, when you haven't been in these positions before, it can be tough as a manager. If we had someone like Guardiola as a coach, he knows what it is to bring a 15-year-old star boy through. Do you know what I mean? Look what he did with Foden when he was young. He managed his minutes. If we had an Ancelotti, like, experienced managers know how to manage these players. This is Arteta's first job. I just hope he's got the people around him, and he kind of, I don't know how you even learn how to do that. Do you ask people? Does he call a Pep and say, look, what did you do when X player was coming through? What did you do when Foden was coming through? Where do I play him? Because I don't think that's something that necessarily comes to you naturally. Obviously, you can watch Max every day in training and think, right, I want to play him in pre-season. I might play him in Carabao. But if he starts in the Carabao Cup game and scores 2 goals, do you know what I mean, against a decent opposition, then, right, do I put him on the bench in the Prem? Do I give him 30 minutes in the Prem? It's those kind of decisions that you need to get right. And I hope Arteta does. Because also, I'll add, I don't think in his first 2 or 3 years he did get it right with youth. I think there were certain players that were around the first team squad that didn't get quite enough minutes.
Well, Ethan last season didn't, definitely. I know people say he got loads, but he did get minutes. But you can't tell me that Trossard in the 10.
Can I add something, Dan, to this? Because actually, a lot of people misinterpret this, and I actually misinterpreted this myself as well. I was always questioning kind of like the Smith Rowe thing. Why isn't he playing him? Why isn't he playing him? And from what I understand, Ethan Nwaneri's camp is one that spoke to Arteta and spoke to them saying that actually don't play him as much because physically he's not able to handle it. So it was a request from Nwaneri's side more than Arteta not deciding to play him. I don't know how true that is, but at least that's what I understand from the situation.
Well, something definitely happened, AG. There's something definitely happened towards the end of the season because he weren't getting minutes for whatever reason. I know Kenny mentioned that he didn't trust him off the ball. Some people said physically he weren't up to it. Some people said he was carrying a knock. Some people said Arteta fell out of favour for him. I don't know what it was, but for me, you can't be playing Trossard in that 10 for as long as we did when Ethan was there balling out. Again, I was against Bolton and Preston, and I don't care who it was against. He's putting them in top bins against Preston, Bolton and Girona, and we're trying to get Trossard to create something. It's poor. So he's got to do that. He's got to do that. Go on, Aaron.
The thing is as well, is what people are forgetting. It took about 5 players to get injured for Arteta to finally play. We had Odegaard out injured. Then we had Saka out injured, and he still hadn't played him at that point. We had to have Martinelli injured. We had to have everyone else injured before. And this is the point that I'm trying to make. He doesn't see this in terms of managerial things. And by the way, Christian, he's been in his first job for 5.5 years. When does constitute as his experienced manager? He's experienced now. He's been in for 5.5 years, not 5.5 months. He's an experienced manager now, and he needs to be doing better. This is his 7th season that he will be managing in the Premier League, by the way. So he is experienced. He's just not good enough. I digress. It takes Mikel Arteta, the last possible roll of the dice before he starts playing youth, and that's my biggest worry about Max Dowman. You look at it when he came in, he didn't see something in Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe when he played him against Chelsea and co. He had to. The same with Lewis-Skelly. The same with that, MLS. It's because Calafiori Zinchenko was injured and he hates Tierney for some reason. That's why he played him there, not because he walked into training and went, "Wow, this is the next Ashley Cole." That wasn't the case. He just had to play him there. It's exactly the same with Ethan. Once we all started getting hamstrings that mostly he caused, by the way, from not being able to rotate the squad because he's not a good enough man manager or a squad manager, that's why he played him, because that was his last roll of the dice. You're backed into a corner. There you go. Oh, we'll play him now, shall we? Like, look at the end of the season. We were crying out for creativity and he still didn't play him. He binned him off.
In respect, yeah, a lot of young players usually only come on when there's hardly any option, unless the kid is an exceptional talent. If you think about when Marcus Rashford came through, it was United missing so many players, and they had no choice. And against a lower team, is it Michelin or Michelin Tires, whatever the team was, that's when Marcus Rashford came in. It's not young. The pressures are too high for a manager to just trust.
Who's his next game after he played Michelin? Who's his next game after he played Michelin?
Arsenal. Yeah, but United did not have a choice. They did not have any available striker. They would never have played Rashford if it wasn't for the case. I think Martial was out. I can't remember who else was out, and they literally had no choice. And the fact he scored in that Michelin game meant, hold on, we might as well we've got nothing to lose here. And what happens? He bangs in 2 goals. So the point I'm trying to make is sometimes as managers, the stake is just way too high to put your trust in youth. And that's why if you see how Ethan has come in, how Skelly's come in, it's all had to do with injuries, because you can't put all that pressure on youth starting them. And what Christian was saying, even with like Arteta being inexperienced, I agree, he is inexperienced, but I think at this point now he's supposed to be a little bit more experienced. And I think if you're a player, if you play the game, there's certain situations you can deal with because you can see it as a player. For example, when Arteta was at Everton, he would have seen how Moyes dealt with Rooney and how he managed that situation. He was there, so he could use that experience from that time there to sort of navigate how to manage young players, But I think ultimately what I'm trying to say is, like, you can't have too much trust on the young players too early, and it's a lot to ask of them.
Stricter, I do get your point as well. To be fair, I totally get it. Like, young players do usually tend to play when there's injuries. I can't deny that in a lot of the cases. But as well, towards the end of the season, I can counter that by saying we'd already seen Ethan Neri come off the bench and light things up. And when we needed creative spark, he refused to play him still. So he actually that invested Premier League experience.
But you're saying two coming on and making
something happening.
But you're saying two things at the same time.
He was making things happen. He was making things happen, and he still refused to bring him on at the last stage of the season. And with all the reference of what he's got. That's Mikel Arteta's choice then. That's not a freshie.
Take time with Max Dowman. Then you're saying we should have thrown in a young player in Ranieri.
Yeah, but the whole circumstances are different, though. Completely different. The season ain't even started yet.
But then also remember, Ranieri got injured.
Then we were talking about something that did.
Ranieri also got injured last season as well. Let's not forget, he also was out for a while. Actually, Ranieri,
2 or 3 weeks.
He was. How long was he out for?
2 or 3 weeks. It wasn't that long.
How many? How many games? It was a period where we had a lot of games coming. It was maybe about five games possibly. And he was out. So you got to be careful with these young players, especially when they're in that danger zone of their growth spurt. You don't really want to sort of interrupt their natural growth spurt with a player sitting on a medical chair all the time, being seen by a doctor all the time, So I think it's a tough one. I agree with what you're saying. I think there was definitely times. there was
Sorry.
definitely times. Sorry, bro. There was definitely times when I thought, bruv, we've got no choice. Just bring this brother on. Like, bring this brother on. And like you said, the Trossard thing. Trossard was not working in a 10. It just was not working. That's not Trossard's game. And at that point, make something. You know, sometimes you can just do the maddest thing and it works. And I think just dashing Ethan there, we've seen what his attributes are. He's quick on the ball. He's got an eye. He can definitely shoot. Trossard can shoot, but Trossard ain't got the eye, ain't got the speed. So I would have, at that point, I would agree with you to throw it in one area there. 1 or 2 games, it wouldn't have hurt. Do you know what I'm saying? So I agree with you there. But overall, I think you just have to manage and find a fine balance.
Let me just bring these super chats. Sorry, DJ. Let me just bring these super chats in, and then I want to move to the next topic because I know we'll be on here for ages otherwise. But Dowman's made me realize Fabio Vieira had no excuse to perform. He carries less weight, but already more impactful against a physical team like Newcastle. Do you know what? Spot on, man. Fabio Vieira looks like he's definitely going. So, let's hope that we do get some form of cash for him. Maka says United are going to buy him like they did with Heaven and Obi Martin. I don't think he would want to go United.
There'll be a riot. There'll be a riot if that happens.
If that happens, man. Owen says Max Dowman's a fantastic young player. He should feature in some early rounds of cups and against low-level Champions League sides. Could be the 2004 Rooney levels. What's mad is, and Kenny will know this, Kevin Campbell, bless him. I did an all-time 11 that he played with on a show ages and ages ago, years ago, in fact. And he put Wayne Rooney in, and I thought, oh yeah, I remember you played with him at Everton. He went, not really. He said, I see him at 14, and he's by far the best I've ever seen. I thought, jeez, 14. And I didn't see him at 14, but Kevin was playing in the reserve team because he was coming back from an injury, and he got put in the side. They said, who's this kid warming up? And they said, oh, he's playing. And he went, what, in this team? He said, yeah, he's playing with us. He said, it's Wayne Rooney. He went, that's the kid everyone's talking about. I'll give him a few kicks then. And he said he couldn't get near him. He said he was that good at 14, just couldn't get near him. So, yeah, left to see, man. Wow. And Cliff said, come on, lads, Arteta's never gotten it right with the youth. Look, I don't know. A lot of people have concerns about Mikel Arteta. I'm not going to say that he's at fault for every single thing. I think we need to look at what Max Dowman can do with Arteta before we make that. I can understand Aaron's concerns, to be fair, because, we've seen it with Ethan where he maybe should have given him a chance. I think this is the season to see what Arteta can do with both Ethan and Dowman because he's got to try and keep them both happy and give them the right amount of minutes. So it's going to be interesting for sure. One thing I will say before we come off this topic, when I saw that performance from Max Dowman, what I loved was, I thought, right, how does he deal with getting kicked? Brilliantly. He said, come and kick me more. Then he got up and he took it round everyone and they kicked him again and he was just laughing at him. And then he goes round players like Joe Linton, who in the end was laughing at him on the pitch saying, mate, I couldn't get near you. I had to push you over in the end. I loved that. I thought, how's he going to deal with the mentality at that age? Fair play to the lad, man. I was well impressed. But look, we talk about competition. It's a nice little segue into Eze, because it sounds like there's going to be some suggestions that Eze is the next guy that we want. Now, I think it's no shock that we want Eze. We've been linked with him for some time now. But I'm hearing on the one side we need to sell players. Then I'm hearing that we don't need to sell players and we want a left winger on top of Eze when we do sell players. Very, very mixed opinions about this one, if I'm honest. I don't know who's talking nonsense and who's talking right. But I'll come to you, Kenny, for one reason and one reason only. Eze is a player you've wanted for a long time. And I suggested that, we did a chat about a player that we could bring in January, and you said Eze. Looks like we can get our guy. They want 35 million apparently up front in installments for the rest of it to add to 68 million, which is the release clause. And that expires before the end of the transfer window. So are we going to get this deal done? Are we going to have to pay 68 mil up like a Palace going to shift or budge? Or do you think we should just go and get the player and release the clause?
Yeah, I think we should release the clause because Palace would be stupid enough to not to get anything but big money for the player. He's their best player. Let's not forget they lost another one of their promising players in Alicia, and he's doing really well with Bayern. So 100%, let's go out and get him. Let's remember, we've got a creativity deficit at this football club. The only player that with genuine creativity and who actually makes things happen is Saka. I like to say Odegaard, and I know Christians will say he was in the Premiership team of the season last in 24 and 23, which, yeah, he was. But even with these two, we do have a creative shortage. This guy gives us another option. in order to to create these chances for our players. And I think that's why we should go all out for the player. And let's face it as well, we know that he can play in big games. He's a big moment player. Let's not forget, without him, Crystal Palace wouldn't have won the FA Cup. I'm not just talking about the final. Let's not forget the goal in the semi-final, the first goal against Fulham in the quarters. This is a guy, who he's big with moments. And let's face it, he's an England national as well. He had a big moment in the last 16 game against Slovenia. So 100%, I'll be ecstatic we get him because, he's a player who can, put Odegaard under pressure for his place. He can, playing at number 10, maybe try him in the number 8. He could start off at the left wing. He's not a left winger, so let's just be honest with ourselves. He's not a left winger, and we don't really want to play left wing because if he plays left wing in that team, you're asking him to do things that he has to do, which you don't want him to do. We didn't buy him to, track back and help out, Miles Lewis-Skelly. We want Eze to be that creative spark, to have that, goal in him. Because let's face it, if we're going to have a sustained challenge for this league, we need at least 3 or 4 players to get 15 or more goals. That's where this guy can come in and get the goals. He's going to be playing in a better team. So that's where I'm really be happy if we can get him. The other thing is that do we need to sell? I think we do. I've never seen a team under Liverpool spend that amount of money and not having to sell. And even then, they're still selling anyway. People say Liverpool don't have to sell, but they still sell Diaz. Nunes wants that. And, they're probably going to sell Elliott because Elliott's going to want first-team football because he might have a chance of going into England in the World Cup. So we should be no different. My thoughts on Martinelli. It's not personal. It's just that I just think from a business point of view, he's a player that I still think is sought after. He's at the right age. And I think he's got a lot to offer the club. And I think this is where Berta can show what he's really made of. Because I want to see how Berta is, where, in terms of, we know he can get rid of the dead wood, but I want to know if he can get decent money from one of our stars. So the litmus test is Martinelli. But for footballing reasons as well, I think Martinelli's ran his race for this club. I think as much as he had a promising start to his career, it's just last season was bad. It was bad. There was nothing coming. The excuses that we're blaming Arteta, that he's making him do things that blunt his creativity. But on the other side, you've got a lad who's still our big moment player, still our most impactful player, and he still does the things that Mikel wants. Yet Martinelli's development was ahead of the other guys. So what's going on here? Sometimes you have to say, what, thanks, mate, but let's look elsewhere. And you've got the other guy who replaces him, and he's like, if you like cricket, I call him the dibbly-dobbly. Can do a little bit of everything, but not too well. That's Trossard, dibbly-dobbly football. Dibbly-dobbly. Might score a goal occasionally, might have a big moment, but it's not regular. So that's another reason why he's another player I want rid of. Because I think this season we need better than those two. And if we can get decent money for both of them, I'll be happy. Trossard wants that anyway. He was basically, selling himself and in the West End to the Saudis. And at last minute they pulled out. But why would they make an offer for the guy last minute? Come on, they wouldn't have made an offer unless they got encouragement from the Trossard side. Come on, it doesn't happen like a coincidence. You know what I mean? You don't go to King's Cross corner unless someone tells you they're waiting for you, through bits of tricks. You know what I mean? Something happened there. If you want to go on, no problem. Thanks for your service. We can do better than that. But yeah, those two players, we need to improve drastically in that left-hand side.
I think the most obvious thing in pre-season was that, I've got to be honest, in what I've seen so far, I know it's not over, in the 2 games I saw, because I did watch them while I was abroad, I looked and I thought, everything looks all right, but our left-hand side don't. It looks poor. Martinelli was really bad. Trossard, a bit with Kenny, and I think his head's in another club. He wants to go. But my question to you guys is this, right? And I'll let anyone come in on this. Eze, I still don't think he's a left winger. So
No.
I need Eze and the left winger coming into this football club, which means we're going to have to sell players, and we're going to have to look at, whereabouts we see it. Now, I don't believe this manager looks at Madueke as our left winger. I hope he doesn't. If he does, I'm going to have some problems. But if it is that he's coming in for Saka as cover, great. Eze, Ødegaard cover, great. We've got Ethan and Max coming through, great. What do we do on the left-hand side? Because Eze, for me, I don't think he's a winger. And the Palace guys in the chat will be laughing if we bring in Eze on the left. They said it's a disaster. He can come and play there for a bit, and he might do cut in nicely and take a shot. But he's a creative midfield 10 or an attacking 8. He ain't a winger. He's someone that can do a job out there if someone's injured. So, yeah, I mean, Caden there, Eze is far from an actual left winger. If you get Eze, you're going to need a left winger as well. I agree with this. I totally agree. So what do we think as a panel, man?
I agree with you, Dan. I think there's two players I'll take ahead of Eze, not because of quality necessarily, but just because of what we need, which is obviously Rafa Leao and Rodrigo. Now, I don't know if any of those two are attainable. I don't know if either of those two want to join Arsenal. We don't know if either of those two necessarily yet want to leave their clubs. There's talk about Rodrigo. He might stay at Real Madrid. He wants to stay at Real Madrid, but maybe they want to sell him. We don't know what way round it is. We don't know the answers yet. We'll probably find out in August. And Leao, I don't think is attainable. He's Milan's best player by far. Apart from Leao, Milan don't have. This is AC Milan we're talking about. They don't really have any real big name. We played Milan the other day. Apart from Tomori, Loftus-Cheek, Leao, I was looking around AC Milan thinking, is this AC Milan? Like, yeah. At one point where they were, so I don't see them letting Leao go. And in terms of Eze, I love him as a player, but it is that. I think, like we've all said, that the glaring problem at Arsenal right now is a left winger. I think in that first game, it was telling that Reece Nelson came on the pitch and was better than both of them. And he's the guy who's third choice and is probably going to go. And look, I've said before that I have faith in Martinelli, or I wanted to have faith in Martinelli. It's slowly... I don't like saying it because I loved him as a player when he came through. I thought he was brilliant. And I think we all did, to be honest. And I think that faith... I
still do. Present tense.
Fair. But I still don't think you can deny that he's not the player he was. And there's an argument that it is system-based. When Xhaka was in the team, he was flourishing more. I know people say since Havertz has come in, it's kind of stunted him a little bit. Maybe with Gyökeres in the team, with Rice in the 8. But these are still questions. I need a guy that's going to play on the left, and it doesn't matter who's behind him, doesn't matter who's in the middle, doesn't matter who's in the left 8. He's gonna flourish. Because I know Saka, when you take Ben White out of the team, you put Timber in, he doesn't change. Do you know what I mean? When you take Odegaard out and you put Nwaneri in the team, it doesn't change. When you take whoever out up front and you put whoever in up front, he doesn't change. He still shows his quality, and that's the player I want out of Martinelli. So if he can't be that player, that you move one or two pieces around him, and all of a sudden he's doing nothing, then you've got to move on from that. But yeah, look, I'm still hopeful that he can get back to that. I think my preference would be bring in a left winger like a Rodrigo or a Leao or whoever it might be and make Martinelli the number 2. I know that might not be feasible if we need to raise funds because he is the one that's looking like you could get, 45, 50, 60 million for him. And what are we going to get for Trossard? 15 or 20? So yeah, there's a question there. It's a question for the board as well, because it might not even be Arteta. I think if Arteta had the choice, he would definitely keep Martinelli over Trossard just because of the age, because of the potential, because of what they've shown. But if the board says we need to raise 50 million if you want to bring in another left winger, then you're kind of forced to sell Martinelli.
Yeah. Do you know what as well? Yeah, with our left-hand side, I think there's one word that summarises it perfectly. Stale. It's so stale, Martinelli and Trossard. It's mould from head to toe on both of them. It's just ridiculous. One of them needs to go. And do you know what worries me more is whether you believe Sky Sports or not, I see it earlier, that Borussia Dortmund were in for Trossard and we don't want to sell him. So it's just like, well, we're knocking on the door of spending 200 million. You've got to sell someone. You've got to start selling someone. And I do somewhat appreciate the fact that you get to a point like 200 million. All we've done in terms of sales and finances is rip up Tomiyasu's contract. Why we still got Vieira, albeit links, maybe even just why's Vieira still here? It's the 30th of July, not the 30th of June. Do you know what I mean? Like, what we're still doing here 2 months in, and we've only ripped up Tommy's contract. What about Reece Nelson? Why is he still here? Kivior, what's he doing? His stock won't be probably as high as it will be in his Arsenal career due to his decent finish towards the end of the season. Once the boys get back fit, he probably ain't going to come back in play. So next season or in January, he's probably not going to be sold for as much now as right now. This is the time to sell him. Why is he still here? Why, you know what I mean? Why have we got 4 or 5 players? Why is Zinchenko still here? Well, he's on 150 grand a week. That's why he's still here. We need to start selling someone. And that left side, we know, all of us know on this panel, without shadow of a doubt, all of this chat, smash the likes. We all know that one of them was going to have to go. Without shadow of a doubt, Trossard or Martinelli. And it's worrying for me when we're that horrendous at selling anyway. We're in August in 2 days. We haven't sold anyone yet. And we're apparently, whether you believe the rumours or not, saying no to a Trossard bid. It's just a bit worrying for me, a bit frustrating. Not worrying, but it's frustrating.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've said it all along. We need to release players from this team, 100%. With the Eze, I'm fed up now of people saying that Eze, bringing him on the left-hand side, and Eze it has to stop. Eze's not a left winger. It's clear as day. If Eze comes in, he plays in the 10. Simple as that. This football team has been lacking creativity now for quite some time, and Eze completes Gyökeres. If this team doesn't get creative, all this
that means dropping Odegaard, DJ.
Yeah, well,
he ain't going to do
Odegaard,
that.
Look at Odegaard last season. Well, this is where the manager comes into play. Then the manager's got to now earn his money and be a bit braver, and he's got to start taking chances. You know, it's no good sticking now to the same system, the same players. He has to take chances. He has to mix it up a little bit. None of this, oh, well, you're my captain, you play every week. I mean, getting back to Ranieri, he was watching Odegaard drop stinker after stinker after stinker after stinker, and he's still sitting there. At one point, he was watching Tierney play on the right-hand side. I mean, this is what this manager does. It's craziness. If Eze comes in, he needs to start. Simple as that. Not on the left. He needs to start, and it completes Gyökeres. Because if this team doesn't change the way it plays and gets creative, Gyökeres, what we're all gassing up about and we're all excited about, me included, will start to look very ordinary. We see it with Harry Kane at Spurs when the creativity dried up with there. We see it with Harry Kane with England when there's a lack of creativity in the team. He starts dropping deep. He starts to come on the halfway line. He starts going out left. Starts dropping into midfield, picking the ball up, trying to make things happen. I don't want Gyökeres doing all this madness. I want him there in one position to score goals, what he's good at. And if we don't get creative in this team, that's what's going to happen. So for me, Eze's a must. The left-hand side's a problem all along it. Skelly is going to get found out on certain games because he's still learning his trade at left-back. Skelly's a midfield player. He's been brainwashed that he's a left-back because that's the only position he's been played in. But he's not a left-back. His natural position is midfield. That's why when we see him live, Dan, we see him go into midfield in certain situations, and then a diagonal ball gets played out wide, and it's one cross in, and they're in with a goal. So these are the problems we've been facing in this team. The left-hand side needs addressing, and it's been needing addressing for quite some time. We said at the end of the season and during the season, we need 6 or 7 players. At one point we was talking about a rebuild, and it wasn't a rebuild; it's a retool, according to some people. But at the end of the day, we were saying we need 6 or 7 players. You know, to make this team great, we still need that sort of level. We haven't really replaced with the only upgrade we've had in this team is Gyökeres. He's the only out-and-out outstanding upgrade that we've had and that's an upgrade on Havertz. That's no upgrade on like Aubameyang and stuff like that. That's an upgrade on Havertz. So what I'm trying to say is, Dan, we're still short. To go and be a serious contender in the Champions League and Premiership, we are still short. So bringing in Eze is a must. And then once the players are in place, the manager then starts to need to look at himself and start asking questions. Am I brave enough to make the changes? Am I brave enough to do the right things? Am I brave enough to mix it up a little bit? None of this long throw-ins and pumping the ball 30 yards long in semi-finals of Champions Leagues. All this nonsense has got to stop. He's got to be a lot more braver in certain situations. So,
well, let me ask this then, right, to the panel, right? It's kind of 2 questions, I suppose. If Eze comes in yeah, 68 M's, let's say it is, we release the clause, whatever we're going to get him for is going to be a lot of money, right? Who plays on the left-hand side? We've got Martinelli, Trossard's going to go, we believe, Eze, Madueke, or potentially someone else if there's someone else you believe. I actually don't know, because I still feel like we need a left winger, but I don't know that we're going to get Eze, Madueke, Gyökeres, and a left winger. I just don't know that we're going to do that. But if we don't, and let's just say we don't have a Rodrigo or a Rafael Leao coming through the door, who's playing on the left wing?
Yeah, then before someone else comes in, don't be surprised if he don't put Gyökeres on the left and Havertz down the middle.
Oh, fuck.
God.
Fuck off, man.
Don't stop throwing that into the mix. Come on, brother. I love you, D. I love you, D.
I'm tongue in cheek there, guys. I'm tongue in cheek, but you was all laughing when Party went right back, though. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and Xhaka played left back, so you can never put it against Arteta.
I honestly think he's not paid 52 million for Madueke to sit on the bench. I think Madueke could be playing on the left. That's me personally.
I agree.
I think we might go into the season not necessarily knowing. I know we all want to have an answer and we all want to be like, this is our starting 11. This is exactly what's going to start if everyone's fit. But I think we might have a situation. So you said if we sign Eze and Trossard goes, right?
Yeah.
I think we might have a situation where there's three of them that could start on the left, and it's going to have to be, I don't know, in Arteta's who's looked the best in training that week, who's kind of put their best foot forward to say I'm going to start left wing. I agree with DJ though, and I know Kenny said it, and most people have said it. £52 million for someone that's going to be a bench player doesn't quite seem like Arsenal business.
But my point, quickly, Christian, my point could be, bro, we could have, let's say it's 60 million for Eze, right? It'll probably be more than that, but let's just keep it simple. 60 million for Eze, over 50 for Madueke, and 65 for Havertz, and they could all be set on the bench.
That's where we need to be.
That's
we
what
do
we
need
want,
to be,
by the way.
be as a team. That's if we want to have a squad that wants to compete on all fronts and not be just in the mud as soon as we get 2, 3, 4 injuries to key players. That's where we need to be. We need to have quality on the bench. That's where I want to be as an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, but guys,
it's never been where we've been as Arsenal fans.
So I was one question though. One of the things is we're sugarcoating this. There's a massive shadow over this team, and that's called Kai Havertz. Because what do you do with Kai Havertz? We can't find a place for him in our first 11. Like if everyone's fit, because we bought Gyökeres, that's a number 9, straight down the middle, left hand side. We don't particularly want him on the left-hand side. The right-hand side picks itself. The midfield, we think it picks itself. So what? Because the biggest fear is that this manager will still shoehorn Kai into the team because he still places a lot of stock on his footballing ability, and he plays a lot of stock on him being tactically important. And if he's fully fit, that's the situation. Because you said, who does he play down the left-hand side? He's got the excuse that my guy Madueke is not fully fit. That he's had a big holiday. That first game of the season, I can still see, even though he's not in my first 11, I can still see Kai Havertz starting that game.
Where would he play? Left 8.
Well, I think he'll find a place for him. He'll find a place for him within the attacking midfield and the front three. I think deep down, I can't speak for all of you, but I think there's probably about 70% of this panel that thinks that he will be playing on that at 4:30 at Old Trafford. 70% of you must be thinking that.
I don't think he'll be playing.
He won't be in any of your teams, but because of the fact that Kai Havertz is has been his go-to man tactically.
I hope he becomes a plan B.
It wouldn't surprise me if Kai starts.
I hope he becomes a plan B. I hope if it's not going right, 65, 70 minutes, that's who we bring on. I've also said, I think I said it last week, or I said it on the watch along on Sunday. I know it can be annoying for strikers. I remember, I don't know if it was on this show, but Lacazette, there was a quote from him a few years ago when he was at Arsenal about being brought off as a striker 75th minute. That's when strikers want to be on the pitch, because that's when defenders start to get tired and you pick up positions. So if Gyökeres is coming off every game at 65, 70 minutes for Havertz, that's going to be frustrating for him because that's when you want to get your, you get in positions, defenders get tired, you run him around the whole game, and then you get bought off, and Havertz gets bought on. That's not what you want as a striker.
Let's play this game. Let's play this game then. Let's play this little game here. First few games, we're going to be told that Gyökeres has got a bit of a knock, and that he needs to accumulate in Havertz for the first few games. Put your ass on it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't think that happens, Kenny. I don't think that happens, man. I really don't think that happens. If that happens, it is.
I don't think it should happen. But the fact is, Kai Havertz is still at this football club, and he's still.
I think he'll bring him on as a plan B, different dimension. I don't think it's for Gyökeres all the time. I think it could be as well as. But if he starts at Old Trafford, I'll be seriously questioning what the manager is thinking. I've got to be honest with you.
Do you know
that's
what,
going to happen. He's going to start Old Trafford. I think he starts at Old Trafford. I don't think he should, but I think the manager
I don't think he does. I don't think he does. If Arteta starts Havertz, then he needs to sit down with a therapist because you have all the necessary juice to get a win at Old Trafford. You got the element of Gyökeres turning down Man United. You got Gyökeres going against his former manager. You've got all the juice to get something out of Gyökeres in that game. There's no there's no logical reason that Havertz starts other than the fact that Gyökeres is only started his pre-season now.
Yeah. Do you know what's a good indicator? The good indicator is going to be how many minutes Gyökeres gets against Spurs and in the two games at the Emirates.
Yeah, because he's only getting his pre-season now. He's only getting his pre-season now.
If he don't play at Spurs or get silly minutes, and then plays half of the game in against Villarreal, wherever it is, and then plays some minutes against who was it, Bilbao? We got the end. He ain't starting. He needs to have significant minutes. He has significant minutes in the next 3 games, 100%.
It's true, though. That's going to be telling. I think I don't think he starts tomorrow. I don't even know if he plays tomorrow. The guy's just been on holiday. He's having
he's going to play 25 minutes, I think. Like 65th minute, he'll come on.
He needs to get.
I agree. We'll see it. We'll see it in the 2 games after that Emirates Cup.
Word logic and Arteta don't go together, I'm afraid, guys.
Yeah, I agree. So Stricto, I think in my opinion, like I totally agree. Like in terms of logical, makes sense. Play Gyökeres, and I'm going to struggle with Havertz playing a little bit. But the way I see it and the way I've set my expectations is that Havertz will start the first 3 games. And as soon as Gyökeres starts hitting the back of the net, then the fan pressure will come. And then I think it has to be a meritocratic system. And, whoever's doing better, whoever's scoring the goals, that's the guy that needs to play, right? We know that Arteta loves Havertz. I think he's probably going to play him in behind him. But I think your expectations that Gyökeres is not going to start this season.
Considering 2 of the 3 games we've got there, though, and obviously Man United away, and then Anfield in the 3rd game. Yeah. Probably the Premier League could be Tala by game 3, couldn't it? You have a shit result at Old Trafford and get done by Liverpool, 6 points behind after 3 games. Tala, let's fast forward to next season. And that's what I'm saying. He can't afford to be playing Havertz for 3 games. If we've seen 2 years, he ain't good enough. You've waited 5 years to sign Gyökeres. Play him in minutes. Sod his holiday. Get him ready, get him fit. I couldn't care less about Gyökeres' holiday. We waited 5 years for a striker. So get him minutes, get him 2 minutes.
You know how stubborn
United.
Aaron, you know how stubborn our manager is, right? And he won't care what anybody else thinks.
But that's at the detriment of Arsenal Football Club, though. That's not my problem. I want to see him win. At the end of the day, if we had one opportunity at 0-0 on the last minute for an unfit Victor Gyökeres, 1-on-1 with a goalkeeper, or a fully fit Kai Havertz, who do you want? I still want an unfit Gyökeres to take that 1-on-1 chance because he'll probably finish it and Havertz will probably fluff it. So just play him, innit?
I think it's gonna.
The season could be crap by game 3. I know that sounds ridiculous and a bit cynical, but it's fact.
If a £50 million bid came in for Kai Havertz right now, do you think Arteta would take it?
Never. Not this season. Not this season. Not this season.
That's an escape plan if I ever heard one, bro.
Yeah.
Bruv, because
money
listen,
and run.
You lot all know how I do rate Arteta. That is no secret. I'm probably more Arteta in them. Me and D, I imagine, more than the rest of the panel. But even the whole Havertz thing just confuses me because it kills so many things. Like the midfield, it kills the midfield. It kills the attacking. Like it's such a stupid conundrum. Like the whole Havertz thing, because now you're right. Arteta will find a way for Havertz because of how much we've spent on him. And there are times when Havertz is useful, which in my opinion is aerially. Other than that, he's not creative. He doesn't offer spark. He's not the fastest. Doesn't sit behind. Doesn't create space. There's nothing good about Havertz. But because of the price tag, you have to play him. You know, and I'm hoping
as well.
We're going on Havertz, and yet Marino is better than him up front.
People say that Havertz has bulked up over the summer. I think I'm going off you. I completely agree with it, 100% of everything what you said. I think the only pro for me about Havertz was his strength, some of his hold-up play. He likes to get involved. People are like, oh, he's bulked up. It's never been about his size. It's never been about him getting stronger. My problem with Havertz has been his technical ability. Him with the ball at his feet, him trying to dribble and tripping over his own feet, him in front of goal, him missing headers against Man United from 2 yards out, him fluffing his lines.
Do you remember last season?
People are like, oh, he's going to be physical. He was already physical. That's
do you remember last season? Remember when we was in America last season? Was it America last season or the season before? When they were doing this technical, technical challenges. And at that point, I thought we are boiled. That was when I said we are boiled, bruv, because this guy had no touch. And at first, I thought he was doing it for banter, like, bruv, the guy was actually trying to pluck the ball out of the air, bro. As a professional, you should not have a third touch. I'm sorry, you should not have a third touch, and that's what Havertz has got. And he that is probably one hill that I agree with most people about Arteta. Like, I just do not get that. We saw that before the move was even made. Like, how was Chelsea fans were jubilating? They were actually jubilating, and that's the big telling sign. I got what's my man's name on Instagram? Big Chelsea guy, Al Jazeera Peckham. You know, he messaged me about Madueke. Goes, bruv, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pissed Madueke is leaving. He's in the comments laughing that we're buying Madueke, but he's in my DM saying, I can't lie, bro, I'm pissed. But with the Havertz thing, he laughed. All I saw was laughing emojis. Nearly every day we was linked with Havertz. I really don't get it. Like,
I can't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I still don't believe it. It makes no sense. And I appreciate that he scored some goals and he got 9 last season and he got 14 the season before. We made do with him as a 9. Nobody on this panel can tell me they do not want to replace Kai Havertz. If they put everybody fit and they bet their best 11, I bet everybody would leave Havertz out. They might look at Martinelli, like question it, like Kenny or some of the others. They would all leave Havertz out, definitely. There'd be some debate over Martinelli. There'd be some debate perhaps over which fullback do you like on the left, all right, whatever it be. But there would be absolute unanimous votes to say, nah, I don't want Havertz as the 9. He can be the squad player.
But let's also not say that he's been a bad player for us, because I think we're being a bit harsh. So I totally agree. I mean, he definitely doesn't start, but I think when we talk about being a squad player and contributing, I still think he has a big part to play this season. I still think he's overperformed from my expectations. I think he does. I think Gyökeres is not going to play every single game, and there will be times where we play with 2 strikers up front and we play a 4-4-2, and we might see them both playing up front. So, I agree that he's not maybe at the level that we want, but I think we should understand that he has one.
No, he hasn't been poor. Right? He hasn't been poor, but he's blocked. He's blocked a lot of things happening. He's blocked a lot of things happening. That's the problem.
Feeling like he's a really bad player, and I don't.
No. He hasn't been poor.
Winning the league, and he
hasn't been poor. No. I'll be honest. He hasn't been poor. But my issue is he's blocked a lot of things happening. Yeah, do you understand? I'll even go as far as saying, I think we need another striker, because we could be back to square one if Gyökeres gets injured at any point of the season. Do you know what I'm saying? I would like us to actually prioritize the left wing, because we know that's like, who said that left side is still, like Aaron said, that left side is still, that. But I also think we are one injury away from being back to square one again. 100%.
I prefer Jesus to be our backup. I know it's not going to happen. He's probably either going to go this window or when he's fitting in January.
Who's going to buy him though? 265k a week. He's not fit till December.
They're not. Yeah, maybe they're not. Maybe we have to pay half the wages and he goes on loan. I don't know what happens. Something like that. Yeah. But if you ask him, I agree, Stricter, man. Gyökeres gets injured, we're back to Havertz up front. Which, look, Arteta managed to get 89 points in the league somehow with Kai Havertz up front. God knows how he did that, but it's his fault that he brought him in. If he brought in a proper striker when Havertz came in, we probably would have, I don't want to say probably would have won the league. We had more goals out of a striker anyway. So,
do you guys not think it's insane that we're talking like this? Oh, if we have one player injured, we're back to square one after 5.5 years and nearly £1 billion spent. That blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind.
It's the truth. It's the cold truth, man.
I was just going to say, you've got to then start looking at yourself. Here we are, as Aaron just said, we're 5, 6, 7 seasons going in with this manager, £1 billion spent. And here we are saying, if this player gets injured, we're stuffed. If this player gets injured, we're stuffed. We've got no one on the left. We've still got Havertz putting. It's crazy.
I don't think we're stuffed or back to square one in the whole team, though.
How are we back to square one when we was told to trust the process and phases and everything else when this manager cut? Trust the process. Don't settle for nothing less, guys. And here we are, £1 billion in, 5 years later, and here we are discussing who do we put in up front if Gyökeres gets injured. Look at the state of our left-hand side.
If we were really going back...
Hang on, let me land. As I said to before, there shouldn't be any reason why this football team is not complete with the amount of money it's had spent on it. There shouldn't be any excuses why it's not complete. There shouldn't be any excuses why we've still got deadwood at the club. And there shouldn't be any excuses why this team is still wanting players in certain positions. We should be only looking at probably have brought in 1 or 2 players this season to add to the already perfect squad we already had or could have had. Instead of that, we're still talking bringing in 5, 6, 7 players. Need someone on the left. Need a creative midfield player. Need a backup for Gyökeres. Backup for Saka. Backup for this one. Still no left back. We got Calafiori, the next Tomiyasu. Never fit. You know, these are the sort of players that this manager and everyone's bought in. You got to remember. He's been there, and these are his players. This is his squad. Everyone who is at this club at the moment is Arteta's players. This is his squad. And here we are, years down the line, more money thrown at it, NHS settings, throw money at it, throw some more money at it. What about starting looking at the manager? How much more money can you keep throwing at a team to try and buy a premiership? When do you start looking at the manager and going, do you know what? Enough's enough now. Don't go and spend another £1 billion. Start looking.
I think it is going to be this season, DJ. I really do. Like,
I thought it was the season just gone, mate.
I did as well.
I
did as well, and I hoped it would be, but it's not going to be the case. But I know a lot of people. I think you've got probably D, Stricto and Christian are probably the most lovers, I would say, of Arteta in comparison to some of the others.
Man said lovers, Hey, I got.
You know what I'm saying?
Man said lovers, Find another word, Dan, please. Find another word.
Appreciation. Arteta appreciation. But like for me, I think you three would even agree that if it's not happening this season, it's done, and we got to move on and get someone in. You're getting Luis Enrique or someone next level, right? But I think. For me, look, D, I'll come to you, man, because you've been Q on this one. Like, I'll ask you this. If Eze comes in solely, just Eze, no other left winger, just bring in Eze, what are you rating that window-wise out of 10, bruv?
If just Eze.
So we're bringing in Eze, Madueke, Gyökeres, Zubimendi, Norgard, Kepa, and Mosquera. So that's 7 players.
7.5.
Okay.
7.5, maybe. I still feel like what Streetor said. I still feel like I would have got Watkins as well for a quick 30 million. I would have got him as well just to be in the squad, and I would have gone and got, like I said, another left winger. But this whole Eze not playing left wing, I'm not too sure whether he plays, whether his actual position is a attacking midfield or not. He's still play left wing. I would still think he's better than Martinelli and Trossard on the left wing. That's the point. The point is, can you upgrade with the players that you're bringing in? Can you find better players in those positions? So yes, of course you want Rodrigo or you want the best left wingers in the world, but if Eze comes in and it's an option between him and Martinelli starting the first game of the season, I'm playing Eze left wing. Yeah, that's how it goes for me, because he's a better player than Martinelli on the left. So I don't know this whole notion of why we still 5 years in our team we have one injury, and it's because that's what we're solving. That's the whole point of buying Gyökeres, the whole point of buying the Norgards, the whole point of buying Mosqueras. That's the whole point of buying these players. So we're not one injury away from having a crisis. That's the whole point of it. That's what we're doing it for. So we can't slate it on one hand, and then when we had the same issue last year when we were trying to rectify it, we're slating it on both sides. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. So the only thing we can do is actually try and resolve those issues. And the first thing we've done is we've got the centre midfielders, we've got the centre back in, we've got our striker in. Now, if he decides to play Havertz for the first few games and Gyökeres on the left and stuff like that, then you can say, you know what are you doing? Because you've got one of the hottest strikers in the world not playing up front. But we've gone and got the hottest striker in the world. So when we're talking about Havertz is a squad player. Havertz is a player that who cares whether he's on 285 a week? Why do I care what he's earning? I only care if it stops us getting a striker. It hasn't stopped us getting a striker right now. So the only thing we can do is go and solve it right now, which is what we've done. So Gyökeres playing, going up front and being the striker that we need. Havertz becoming a bench player. That's a solid bench player. I don't know how all of a sudden that's not a solid bench. That's a solid bench player if he needs to come on.
I personally don't have a problem with Havertz being a squad player. I never have. I don't particularly like him. I don't particularly think he's outstanding. I have a problem with him being my number 9. I don't want that. I think we can do a hell of a lot better, right? And if he is going to be our attacking midfielder or number 9 that comes on from the bench and gives us a different dimension for 20 minutes and makes something happen, like he did in the Champions League game last season. I think it was, who did we play? Was it a French team we played last season? I'm sure we played Lille or someone like that in the Champions League. Who did we play?
Lons, was it?
Lons or someone like that. He came on and was like different dimension. I thought, whoa, okay. He just come back from injury. He scored a goal, set up a goal. Brilliant. That's great stuff. So when I look at it, I think, yeah, that's exactly what I need to be seeing happening. But look, I'll do a couple of super chats and then we'll come to the Spurs game to close. Big up to everyone that's here, man. We got well over 1,000 in here. We got 1.2K. Make sure you've subscribed to every single one of these guys, and make sure you hit subscribe on this one because we are only 50 away from 48K. So let's get that tonight, people. We can easily get that. There must be 50 people in the chat here that have not hit subscribe. It's free. Just hit like and subscribe, and we'll be able to celebrate 48K together. Mods, let's do our job and get them up there big time. This has come out, said, Henry has said, did this guy just say Saka left back? I don't know what this means. What has anybody said this? Saka at left back? I don't get what's happening there. I must have missed that. Yeah, I must have missed that. Sue says, big up Dan, panel and chat. Hit the likes and subscribe. We need to be at least 750 likes already. Subscribe to everyone's streams. Yeah, and let's make sure we do that. Let's hit 48K. Let's make sure we get all of these guys up as well. Really appreciate that. Caitlin says, Arteta will have Eze play the Trossard role, drifting from the left, dribble a lot and finish chances. Basically, Trossard with a full 8 hours of sleep. Trossard, I think, is definitely going. I've got to be honest. Trossard, for me, is 100% going. Before I mention the Spurs game, Christian, what is this all about? Owen has said, I'm aware this is off topic, but Christian said with a straight face that Liverpool will finish 4th, Salah and Van Dijk will decline, and every transfer is a risk that probably won't work. I think that needs to be known. Do you want to talk on this, bruv?
Yeah, I'll talk on this. It's blown a little bit out of proportion. This was first of all, this was a couple of weeks ago before Ekitike was signed, before there was any Isak talk. Obviously, that changes things.
But still when they were league champions, yeah? Okay, cool.
Yeah, they were. I could probably have, this is more of a hopeful prediction than probably going to come true. Everyone knows how much I rated Trent. I feel like him leaving is going to be a big loss to them. This is also when Konate looked like he was going to leave. Now, apparently, it's 50-50. I don't know who they bring in. Is it Gehi? So 3 out of their back 4 changing signifies a big change to me. I said that Van Dijk and Salah, who probably were the best centre-back and right winger in the world next season, getting a year older, they're a year older, 33 and 34 respectively. I could be completely wrong. I probably will be. They'll probably win it again and we'll have egg on our faces. If they bring in Isak, now they brought in Ekitike, it changes it. So I'll do another prediction. But people saying I was disrespecting Liverpool and these, I'm not disrespecting them at all. They're the best team in the league last season, way better than us, more consistent than us, quality players. It was just a prediction, an early prediction. I said 4th, probably was probably was a little bit crazy. That's completely fair. I'll hold that. I'll do another prediction when the window's over. But look, this is football, man. It's a prediction. It hasn't even happened yet. I understand the backlash. 100%.
It's a crazy one. It's a crazy. So where do you put them in favour? So in favourites for the league, rank them to the top 4. Where you rank? Because obviously Liverpool 4th. So who do you think?
Favourites and where you think they'll finish isn't necessarily the same thing. It's like if someone's favourite for the Champions League doesn't mean you have to say they're going to win it. Do you know what I mean?
But that's where you would put them. If they're favourites, then you would assume that they're going to win it, right? That's what favouritism is.
Not necessarily.
So you're telling me Liverpool are favourites for the league, but you think they'll finish second, third, or fourth? That don't make sense.
Does everyone on this panel think Liverpool are favourites?
Yeah, I think they'll finish first because they're
That's
kind of how it works.
So what about last season? We predicted Arsenal to finish first, but we weren't favourite. We haven't been favourites for 3 years.
I predicted City to win it. To be fair, last season.
Saying.
But this season,
Liverpool can be favourites and you don't predict them to win. It doesn't necessarily mean your prediction has to be whatever else.
If you think they're favourites, then surely you think that they'll finish first. Why would you think they're favourites and think they'll finish second? That's demented.
Exactly.
No, maybe he's talking about everyone thinking they're favourites.
I just said my reasoning. They're changing 3 of their back 4 from last season.
Oh, so wait. So you don't think they're favourites? You think they're going to finish 4th then? You think they're full favourites right now?
D, man, why are you trying to tell me in this?
No, I'm actually being serious. I'm actually being serious.
I've seen United and Chelsea and Spurs fans predict us outside the top 4 for the last 2 seasons. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can make a prediction that's not necessarily true, or you can think a team will finish higher or lower and they're not necessarily favourites. It's an opinion.
So let me ask you a question.
I predict they're finished. Go on.
So in your one sec, Dan. Sorry. Just 1 sec. So D, in your opinion, if Liverpool are favourites for the Premier League, the FA Cup, and the Carabao, do you think they're going to do a treble? And maybe Champions League? Are they going to do a quadruple if they're favourites for all 4? No, you probably don't. You're probably going to predict another team. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, but
I predict Arsenal will qualify for the Champions League, but I think they'll finish 8th. That's what that's saying. That just makes no sense. Right? And that was an example, by the way. I don't actually think that. I think Chelsea will qualify for the Champions League, but they'll finish 7th. That's what you're saying. Like, that's madness, bro.
As things stand, then Christian, let's clear this up quickly, right? So we can move on. As things stand, what's your top 4 looking like as things stand before the window shuts right now?
It's a tough one now. I almost don't want to go back on my word.
But
things have also changed. I think Arsenal win it. I think Gyökeres, I'm hopeful when I pray that that's the last piece of the puzzle. I hope we still do a bit more business. I think Chelsea will be strong. I really think they will. I think their squad depth is strong. I don't think City... I don't look at that City team necessarily and think that there's... I don't know. I look at Mateus Nunes at right back, Ait Nouri coming in at left back. I think the centre-back pairing is good. New goalkeeper.
Pep's wife's right back as well.
Yeah, there's questions. There's questions about City. There was a fall off last season, but then they came back strong towards the end of it. And the Club World Cup. It's tough, man. It's genuinely tough. If I was to predict it now that they've brought in Ekitike and it looks like they're going to bring in Isak, that's a big if though. If they bring, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it right now because I want to see what happens with Isak.
Oh, come on.
I'm not doing it again yet.
Come on, man. Come on, Christian, man.
I think it's going to be.
Ask you a simple question. That was an easy question, bro.
Come on, Christian. Do it.
It's tough, man. I think it's going to be a great season. I think we're in for some good football, big games, quality players. Look, most top players in Europe now want to come to the Premier League, which is good to see. It's going to be interesting. I'm not going to go again this soon. After that,
this is question time. Is this Christian, a politician, trying to say anything but the answer?
No, Christian did say Arsenal win the league. So
yeah, I've said I'm hopeful, obviously, and I think we'll win it with the missing piece. And I'll also say I think if we don't win it, Arteta. I don't want to say if we don't win the Premier League, if we don't win something, and I'm hoping it is the Premier League, then it's probably Arteta's last year. And you guys know how much I love and I've backed Arteta as well.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Can I ask the panel a question? Who do you think has had a better window so far out of
Liverpool,
the top clubs? Like Liverpool. Liverpool.
Yeah, I think
Hands-
aside from
is it
that,
hands down?
the question is
Hands
Liverpool
down,
aside,
hands
isn't
down.
it? Liverpool
Is it hands
aside,
down?
I think they've smashed
Isak
it.
can
Yeah,
burn.
hands down, hands down.
Come on.
Even
Well,
without Isak, I would
Isak's
say
not in
there's
yet. Let's wait for
Liverpool.
Isak to come
Oh,
in.
if it's without Isak or with Isak?
Even
without
with Isak, let's just say even
No,
with Isak.
Yeah, easily Liverpool.
Chelsea's
guys,
had a fantastic window. We can't sleep on that. Sorry, Kelly. Sorry.
Hey,
Chelsea
guys,
too. Yeah,
all
and Man
be-
U
all
hasn't
be
been too bad
revealed.
either, to be honest.
all be revealed on the 24th of May. That's what
Like you
we-
said before. That's what you said. Yeah.
I'm going to pull
That's
it
what Kenny
out
said
again, and
earlier.
I'm going to say, let's wait and
What it
see.
is, right? We're basically like the head of a sixth form college or head of a sixth form at secondary school, like Saturday, which is in Archway, and basically saying, right, Christian's got 3 A's for his A levels. And in June, you sit the exam, you get BC, B. That's not 3 A's, is it? Wait till the end of the season. We'll find out how good Gyökeres is going to be. We find out if Madueke has a flop or not. And the same with Liverpool. Let's see if Isak and Etikika can play together. Whether Kirkes is going to lift the levels at left back, or whether Frimpong's going to be improving with Trent, because Trent is defensively. Forget about defensively. His quality is always being on the ball. Passing from distances, pinpoint crosses from set pieces. They're going to miss that. So
Facts.
we need to find out what Frimpong's going to give. Because don't get me wrong, you probably won't have any problem just defensively, but from a creative point of view, I think Trent Alexander is a massive miss, and it's Real Madrid's game. He'll improve Real Madrid because Real Madrid ain't going to require him to defend. He's going to be
And Diaz is gone as well.
Diaz
Do you know what?
Diaz was hoarding himself. Sorry, ladies, if you're watching. Diaz was basically like putting his ads in phone boxes so Barcelona can get him, and that's exactly what he did. I mean, his dad was basically his pimp. Barcelona couldn't afford the salary. But that's exactly what they were doing. For the last 2 years, they were trying to pimp themselves to Barcelona. It's a fact. And Barcelona got Rashford. He's got the buy-in. So is he a loss? We're about to find out.
I think Liverpool, where they lack, I think that central defending. One thing I do agree with you, Christian. I think Van Dijk is winding down a little bit. He's how old is he? 33 or something? How old is Van Dijk? 33, 32, 33?
34.
Yeah, but which is good, but his quality, let's be honest, if you ask any Liverpool fan, his quality is massively dropping over the years. And then you've got the talks of Konate with Real Madrid hovering over his head. I don't know how that situation is going to play out. I think Frimpong is good, but I think Frimpong's a traditional fullback. He's not given what Trent was given in terms of what Kenny Ken was saying. Like the attacking, I think they're going to be heavy. What's that word when a girl's got a big breast? But no batty. Top heavy, boom. They're going to be top heavy. Yeah. I think they're going to be top heavy, but won't have. Do you get me? So that was the quickest one my brain could think of. Big chest. But
I went a different way. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I just think there's a lot of changes, man, which is why I kind of said that. I think changing 3 out of your back 4 from a title-winning team is you don't really necessarily know what's going to happen.
And then also
is huge.
So
if they get more
I think
injuries,
the Premiership as a whole is going to be stronger, though, isn't it? This season. I mean, all right. I mean, Man United. I mean, if Man United are going to, if they get Sesko, they're going to have a front three of Cunha, Sesko, and Mbeumo. So they're going to be strong. I'm not saying they're going to rip it up, but they're certainly going to improve on last season.
It's a definite different game at the first game of the season.
Exactly.
So
I mean,
Watkins,
Aston Villa, Brighton. I mean, all these teams. And the thing is with Arsenal, it's not necessarily against the top 6 that we struggle against. We normally generally do quite well against the top. It's the teams like Brighton and teams West Ham at home last 2 seasons we've been schooled, you know. So
that's why the Premiership's more important than the Champions League.
That's what I said it on DJ's. Yeah, I said I think that this team is more good for the Champions League rather than the Premiership.
Premiership's more biggest achievement.
And also back to what I was even going to add. Let's not even underestimate the impact of Diogo Jota's death, God rest his soul, that might have on the impact it might have on the team. You know, I think
in a good way as well, though.
It could be in a good way where they might want to, you know, play for him in that sense. But I think when you've so used, these guys are humans. Do you know what I'm saying? You get on the pitch, he's there, or even when he's not there, he's on the bench. You have that safety of knowing, he's around us somewhere. But once he's no longer there, you don't know how psychologically that might affect them. Remember, every game going into this season, there's going to be some sort of celebration of Jota from opposition fans. So there's going to be a reminder that he's not there. And you know, I don't think we should underestimate what kind of impact that might have on the team itself. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what my only worry with Liverpool.
It could be in a good and a bad way, right? It could give them the positive and energy, right, to fight, or it could go the other way and make them sad and reflect, right? And I'm really sure that they've definitely had a counselor or like a team counseling.
That won't change. That won't change shit. That won't change shit.
I think that's why their owners have decided to go and do what they've done and spend big and continue. I think they really tried to avenge it and give their fans something to cheer about, because they've been they're about to spend $500 million.
But I do think the thing that you are forgetting though is that they've got a manager that has got over the line and won the Premiership, and that counts for a lot. You know, he's been there and he's done it, and he's managing a team. We've got Florian Wirtz. You've still got some massive players in that team. McAllister, same as Pep. Man City has spent big in January. They've spent again in the summer, and they've got managers that have been there and done it. We've still got a manager that hasn't hit the big time yet.
How have you managed to spin that? How have you managed to spin? No. You spun that because the reason why you spun that.
We're talking about Liverpool. You're talking about
because he's never managed. No manager in the current Premier League has managed a team that has lost a player the way Liverpool has, irrespective whether you've crossed the line a million times. This is a new territory. You've got to emotionally hold on a second. You've got 1 second. You've got to emotionally be able to get these players up minute by minute, not even game by game, minute by minute. You know, once a player's head's down, 20th minute, or you see the number 20, a position player wearing the number 20, you don't know where your head's at. Like, do you know what I'm saying? It's a different sort of ball game. I think they're humans. They react to things and feel things out. They're not just gonna get on with it like, oh, you know what? Let's go and do it for. That might be the motive. Let's go and do it for Diogo. But once you see things start going bad, how is their mentality? Like, how do they come back from that? He's not on the bench to come on. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I think it's a bit different. I think you just spun that towards Arteta. I don't think that those two point is.
I'm saying from a football sense of view. I mean, and I agree. It could work both ways about Jota and God rest his soul and RIP and everything else. It's tragic, and I'm just saying it could work in both ways. It could spur them on to do well, or it could work the other way. But what I'm saying is that you have to look at the bigger picture as well. You know, I mean, you can't sort of ignore the fact that what this manager done at Liverpool last season, walking in and winning the league the way he did, was an incredible achievement. And I'm just saying, you know, they've got a good manager in place. That's what I'm saying. They've got a good manager that's capable of doing it again with the players they've brought in. You know, so you know that's what I'm saying on that.
As well with the Jota thing as well. Oh, God rest his soul, of course. I think as an Arsenal fan, I'm quite glad we're playing them on match day 3 and not match day 1 at Anfield, because I'll tell you what, that first game at Anfield celebrating his sad passing, Liverpool are going to be like they'd be bang up for it anyway, but they'll be extra up for that. I'm quite glad. Yeah, I prefer us to be playing Manchester United than that. Whoever's playing Liverpool the first game at Anfield, that is going to be one sad sort of celebration, but it's going to be a very tough afternoon.
Every game at Anfield will be like that. You know,
that's what I was trying to get. But yeah, that'll be extra. That extra 5 or 10% makes a big difference.
I remember the year after Hillsborough, they won the league after Hillsborough. Obviously, they didn't win it after that. But I always thought that after Hillsborough, they put a lot of energy into winning that league. However, that the energy they put in to do it in memory of the '97, the season afterwards, they still a good side. But after that, the energy went out of it, and that's the thing where, it may not hit next season, but it could hit the season afterwards, because that's what happened with the Liverpool sides after Hillsborough.
Yeah, it's one of them. We'll see. We'll see, won't it? Only time will tell.
It is a will.
It's going to be a tough Premiership, whatever way you look at it.
I mean, it's
for sure.
100%, man. 100%. Let me just do this super chat and address it, and then I'm going to touch on Spurs, and then we're going to close, because I know people ain't got long. Liam says, sleeping on the champions, make it make sense. Already giving outcomes before the season started. Have you not learned? Now using death as a way of excuse, have shame. Look, I don't think the panel were using that at all. I think what they're trying to explain is the kind of potential outcomes of what that tragic event could do to Liverpool, could spur them on, or it could have an effect on them. And I think that's what we're trying to get at. And look, we don't know. We have absolutely no idea how any of this Premier League season is going to pan out. All we can do is look at the business that's being done and make suggestions now. And that could change in a week. Like, if Arsenal go and sign Rodrigo and Eze, then everyone's going to be looking at them saying, go win the league, the Champions League, or a cup, or because it's good enough.
Yeah.
And that's where I think DJ was coming in. Was I think for me, what we look at right now is, if I put all of these squads together right now, Arsenal should be doing something, but I still rate Pep and Slot more than I do Mikel Arteta. So therefore, I'm thinking that they've got a squad which is on par, maybe a little bit better than us, and they've got a better manager. So that's why I'm looking at the Cronkies thinking, are you okay with this guy in charge? Do you think he's going to take us to glory? That's where I'm at personally. But, I can appreciate that. Let me just touch on Spurs before we do go, because I don't like this, guys. I'm not going to lie. I don't think we should be playing friendlies against this lot. I don't get it. Don't know why we're doing it. I've said my piece on it. Everyone understands why I've said it.
Newcastle.
And I'm not interested in that, if I'm honest. But as Kenny says, money.
Right on Ken, mate. 100%.
I don't like playing these guys at all. For me, it's like going to the dentist. You just want it over and done with and get told that it's all gone well. That's literally how I see playing Tottenham Hotspur. So I don't know. D, I'll start with you, and we'll just go around quickly and get literally brief thoughts before we close on tomorrow's game. Friendly Tottenham. What are you saying, bruv?
I agree with you 100%. There's no benefit to it whatsoever. Like you said, apart from money, whether we win, they figure us out a little bit more, and we get a bit lackadaisical for the next game, because we've got them soon. We've got them in a few games. In the season starts. Whether we lose, if we lose, it's a bad result. It's a dampener, and we've got them again in a few games' time. There's no benefit to playing. I don't even want to play Premier League teams, if I'll be honest, unless they're like they've just come up and they've just promoted teams or something like that. I don't want to play any Premier League teams, because it becomes too much of a rivalry. We've got so many random rivalries with random Premier League teams for no reason. New West Ham because of Declan Rice, Newcastle because of the push on Gabriel and that goal that went out with Willock. We've got Spurs, we've got Man United because of the history, Liverpool because of the title race. We've got too many random rivalries. So why are we playing these teams in pre-season? I cannot stand it. I do not want to be having a North London derby. Is it a friendly, or I don't understand. Do they want it to be a friendly or not? I thought it was meant to be friendly matches. The first Newcastle game was not a friendly. No one can tell me that game wasn't friendly. That
injury waiting to happen, I know, wasn't it, D? Injuries waiting to happen that North London derby.
100%
If that gets feisty, that's an injury waiting to happen.
But there's only one way it can go. If it goes well, it's not going to be good for us, because it's going to be a mentally draining, and it's going to go into the game. If it goes badly, it's mentally draining. I don't understand it.
Do you know what? I agree with you as well, D. Yeah, like, what is the point in playing? There's actually a scenario in the Premier League where you can play the same team 5 times over the season. In the Premier League, obviously, get them in the Carabao Cup and then draw them in the FA Cup. Why do I want to see a Premier League team again in pre-season? This is where you want to see us playing the Barcelonas, the teams that you don't usually sort of play, obviously pending Champions League draw, etc. It's just more.
You know what it is, though. You know what it is, though, is that the thing is, it's about money. It's always been. I remember one time back in the day when I was a kid. When I was in my teens, we played Spurs in the Mercantile Cup at Wembley. And I went to that game, and there was hardly anyone there. And I was really up for it. And I had the same thought as you guys have now. What was the point of that? But the problem is, with clubs like Arsenal, clubs like Premiership, it's all about the dough. And when you go to places like the Far East, where the Premiership is a big product, let's be honest, our cousins are brought, in the Far East, don't get to see us play live. They would love to, and it's their dream, and it's something that they'll be really excited about. But the Premiership know that the TV rights that they can get from all these games, it's just money in the bank. And I think it's, pre-season games, it's never about the rest anymore. It's about making dough, mate. Because you think about it, you're not making any dough for about May, in terms of match fees from May up until July. So they're trying to make their dough back, and that's the problem we got in 100%. Football. Money talks, and especially when players want 300 grand a week, and the average players want 150. You have to play all these games and play all these tournaments to pay these players. So as much
we should be playing Inter Miami, Messi's team, or Al Hilal, one of them Saudi Arabian teams.
I'll let you know a secret. Let me secret. If Spurs and Arsenal play in my back garden, I'm up for it. I'm going to get goose pimples. Spurs are.
So this is the problem.
How big's your garden there, Kenny? I know the house is nice. The house is nice.
His house.
Come on, man.
I'm with a lot of them.
Aaron, you can see his house behind him anyway. So
I know, that's it.
See what type of house
When he's playing the piano, he goes out and has a kickabout, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean?
Hey, this I could play the piano, Doggy D. If anyone knows about piano lessons, Doggy D was the only thing I'd be able to play.
Oh gosh! Oh gosh!
Now, this game tomorrow, I could do without it. Can do without it. And what worries me with these sort of games is injuries. That's the last thing you need. The last thing you need is players rocking up and injuries and stuff like that. But yeah, it's all about money. And then you get football as a whole. And I'm not sort of just Arteta in general. But what I'm saying is football as a whole. Then you get managers saying about players being overplayed and halfway through the season they're burnt out and stuff like that. Well, stop going on all these world tours and playing all these physical matches before the season starts. I remember when Arsenal used to rock up against Barnet and players like pre-season friendlies like that.
Boreham Wood, mate.
Boreham Wood, yeah.
Now we're playing Spurs in a North London derby. It's like, man,
and Newcastle. Don't forget we played Newcastle.
Do you reckon, Do you reckon the players on both sides would have been told, listen, both, please, it's just a friendly? Do you think those words are being
strict? So I hope so, man, because that's worrying for me. Because if they start taking it as some sort of cup match and they all start steaming in and no.
Yeah, but you say that, yeah, right? You say that, and I agree with you, Stricto, that maybe that's the case. But are you telling me that you've got like Solanke going through and you're saying to Saliba, just go easy on him, man, it's a friendly? He's going to take his legs, man. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's crazy.
I just hate it. I just don't like this at all.
But the other thing about it as well is it gives Thomas Frank a chance to work us out.
Well,
like,
to be honest,
he's a new manager. I don't need him to figure out, have any little tactics or any ideas about working us out already. I don't need that. He's a new manager. Let him figure it out on the game day.
That's
why
why
I don't figure it out so early.
Don't give him any clues.
I have to disagree with everyone on the panel, and I think everyone here is a local fan. I'm an international fan, so I see it a bit differently. I mean, for me, it's an opportunity for fans around the world who can't afford to go to London to see a North London derby, and we don't get to experience things like that. So it's very ironic because everyone here is based in London, and I'm the international fan, so I see it very differently. I mean, for me, it's 2 weeks before the season. Like I get it, I hear the things about the injuries and stuff, but at the same time, we want Gil Karius to start getting a taste for Premier League football, what Premier League teams are going to be like. We want to be ready, we want to be sharp. All these things that can't happen just by training and playing your Inter Miamis like Chelsea did, winning the Club World Cup, right? And then gloating about winning that, but they really didn't play many tough teams, right? So in my perspective, I hear it, don't want to have any serious injuries, but on the other perspective, it gives a big opportunity for a lot of global fans. You're seeing the guys in Singapore, you're seeing the guys in Hong Kong, how excited and crazy they are, because we don't get the opportunities that you guys do to just go and watch any game.
And that's what I said. We've got to remember one thing, right, is that with the TV rights and with the great sides we had under George Graham and Arsene Wenger, we've got a diaspora of fans from all four corners. This is a massive opportunity for them to see live football, and that's why I said on many occasions, the 39th game is happening because of the level of interest, level of support in either United States, the Far East, and and who knows, it might come to the Middle East, which is a big thing, and who knows, even like India, that area, it's happening because simple reason is that we keep on testing things. Obviously, like they dropped the ball with the World Cup Championship, where they charged ridiculous money for that. But if they got the prices were right, easy, every Premiership club is going to make a killing on having that 39th game. TV rights will go through the roof. It's happening.
It's all about money, man. It's all about money. Yeah. Christian, what are you saying, bro?
No, I agree. I think everyone's right. I don't think anyone's wrong here. I think all opinions are valid. Obviously, it's going to be a more intense game when you play Tottenham. But like African Goon is saying, there are global fans that deserve to see Arsenal sometimes. And if that's the only way to do it, if it's a North London derby, then it is what it is. It is about money. Kenny's right there. I know that I'm excited to watch it, which as a fan, that's kind of what I want. In terms of being told to go easy, Newcastle definitely weren't told to go easy. I don't think there's going to be any different going into Tottenham tomorrow. Yeah. Like I said, I'm excited to watch it. I hope no one gets injured. I hope Gyökeres gets minutes. But players can always get
scores and pulls out the celebration. You know how crazy that's going to be.
That's what we all want, man.
Hey, grown men over 40 shouldn't be doing that celebration.
I don't care. I've been praying for my club to sign a top striker. I don't care.
Kenny, careful! You're going to break your piano, Kenny. You're going to break your piano. Careful.
We want to see it.
Kenny,
I need to see it.
Yo, Kenny, what are you gonna say when I next speak to you and lead judges, man? You're gonna have to have words, man.
Are you 40 yet?
I'm 37. I'm 37.
Anyone who's 40, over 40 doing it.
You've been too generous.
Anyone can celebrate. Any over 40 I catch doing it, you're going to pay me £1 and I'm going to put that
age can't be a thing. Anyone over 35.
40 is too much. Yeah, you like 35. I said 40.
I can't fans celebrate, man.
You're generous. I said 35.
It's the best celebration in the world, though. I'll give it that right now.
100%.
It will be even better when he scores and does it, man.
The best celebration in the world right now.
Let's hope he does that tomorrow, man.
And then you have Saliba and Gabriel running from defense doing it, and Saliba's just running like a cloud.
Gabriel won't play.
I can really see it.
Nah, talking about in general. Saliba's a madman when we score. He's
behind it. He's 100% behind it.
He's a millionaire. He's like a live wire, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's 100% behind it.
Let's hope we see lots of that. That's all I can say.
Don't even surprise me if Saliba puts his arm around Gyökeres to do it for him. Like an ventriloquist.
Facts, man. Look, we're going to come to a close, man. Before we do, let's just quickly give predictions of what we actually think the score will be. I can never ever predict there ain't going to be a win when it's against this lot because I refuse to accept anything else. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 comfortable Arsenal win, and we all have a good day tomorrow. What are you saying, Christian?
I'm going to go. I think Spurs, they played 2 games. I think they've drawn both. I think it was 2-2 and 0-0. Their preseason game so far. What have we had? 1-0 and 3-2. I go 3-1. Yeah, 3-1 Arsenal. 3-1.
2-1 Arsenal.
Aaron?
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-1. I've been speaking to Sava a little bit, and he's been saying that he seems to think that Tottenham's preparation hasn't really been sort of that good yet, and we're apparently quite a bit ahead of them in terms of where we are. We're in a training camp, so based on his little bit of knowledge and that, I'll go a little bit 3-1 if we're a little bit ahead of them.
Oh, sweet. D?
Yeah, I echo what Aaron said. I've been talking to Jules. Jules thinks Tottenham are in a bad spot. I don't know. Yeah. I didn't know that. So I think 3-1. I just wish we had Kudos and they had Madueke, though. I really wish it was. I really wish it was the other way around.
I'm with that. Definitely.
Yeah, I think Kudos could be great, man. But we'll see. Kenny?
I'm definitely going a comfortable Arsenal 3-1. Like I said, who have they signed? This is quite alarming. If you're a Spurs fan, you've had no one signing. You made a complete Wazix of yourself with the you know, with the Nottingham
White.
Forest player,
Gibbs
you
White.
know,
Yeah.
Gibbs White. That was just suicide. It was laughable. Don't know what they're dealing with, Makarakis. Makarakis is a gangster. He ain't having that.
A serious guy.
The guy's not messing around, man.
Yeah,
They
they
spent
need to
a
get a move on Spurs.
whole load
They
of
need
money
to get a move on.
to nearly get them to the Champions League, and then Spurs just come around and just take their best player. Not happening.
The
Nah,
captain
fair,
as well.
man.
Exactly.
Crazy.
I'm going 3-0 Arsenal. Yeah, 3-0 Arsenal.
I love that. AG?
Yeah, 3-1. 3-1. Has
Look,
to
man,
be.
I love the fact that no one has predicted a loss. That's all I care about, man. Or even a draw. That's the good thing. I don't know how Tottenham are. I haven't watched them at all. I wouldn't have a clue. And I haven't spoke to any of the Tottenham guys. I did speak to Sava today, who's just lost his mind about Spurs and their transfer or lack of transfer activity. So
He's not happy, is he, Dan?
he ain't happy at all, bro. So
Nah.
we'll see. But listen, big up to everyone that's here, man. We're going to go and raid Hussam because Hussam and Igal were apparently ranting at each other. So that's always fun. So we're going to go and send them some love. So go and spam the chat. Go and, say Dan Potts raid, 12-man raid, whatever you want to say. Big up to Christian. Big up to DJ. Big up to Aaron.
Big up, guys.
Ken, Stricto, and of course, African Guna. Make sure you're following every single one of these guys. Please hit the subscribe button because we are so close to 48K. And please make sure you're following Match Bingo as well. Scan the QR code and get involved in that. Go and say hello to Don and Sam. Don and Sam, and Igal. And we will see you next time. We're out of here. Latest, people.
Latest. Big up, guys.